What's up? Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is go to Google Colab. To do that, you can just go to a new tab and then type in Colab. And once you go there, it should pop up. You can't see my recommendations, but the full URL is colab.research.google.com. And once you get there, you can see the ones that you have made recently, or you can make a new notebook with this blue button down in the bottom. When you do that, we now have a new notebook. To rename it, you're going to go up to the top where it says the name, which is Untitled 3 at this point, and you can rename it My First Project. We'll definitely be naming this with your last name as we go through the semester, but since it is in Google Drive, when you turn it in on Classroom, it'll be associated with your last name. And so it's not as particular as like when we were using MIT App Inventor. And once I loaded that onto a tablet, I kind of lost who was who. This will not have that problem. How do you run Python code? So I'll write a very short program here. And then to run it, we're going to press the play button next to it. And down here is the result. We can press play again and it'll overwrite the result. We can also X out the result and then rerun it at another time. This is only one line, but as you type more, then you get more lines. They're all numbered for your Python program. What's really cool about this being a what's called a notebook editor is that you can actually sort where your different pieces of code are, and then you can add labels. I know that we did comments last semester with MIT App Inventor, and we can also do comments with this, which we'll use sometimes to our advantage. But we can also use this add text at the top, and we can add some information. So we can say, this is a Python IDE. And when I'm done editing it, you'll see a preview on the right side over here. Like if I go over to back to my code block, I now have this block of text that I can move around and split up different pieces of code. You also, if I double click this to get back into editing it, we can make it into a heading, and that too makes it not only larger, but then pretty cool because we can collapse the things under it into that text cell. Okay, so especially when we're making like some very long programs, it's beneficial to organize it with this text and have headers and descriptions and things like that. How to add comments. So in a coding block, we can press Control ? And that will automatically put a number sign or a hashtag sign, which then allows us to write in the code without affecting the code. So you'll see that it still acts the same way that it did before. We can also I'm just trying to show you that if you start by writing text, but then you want to make that into a comment, just by having our cursor anywhere on this line, I can press Control ? And it makes the entire line commented. If I play this code, I'll get both messages printed. If I take a line that is actual code that I don't want to run this time, I can comment it out, which means I can temporarily make it a comment. And now if I run my program, it'll skip that because it thinks that it's a comment, and it'll only run line 4 instead. So that'll be a tool that we use a lot this semester because as we are coding, we're trying to figure out where there are errors or how we can test just a new feature, commenting out stuff that comes before will be a really, really strong tool for us to use. How do you invite another user? So in the top right, you can click share. What I'm about to show you makes this an incredibly valid piece of development software or development environment, because you can actually get other people to collaborate on your code at the same time, which is becoming more and more common, but is not ubiquitous. It's not true about all pieces of software. So I'm going to add Abdallah. And then this is just like sharing a Google Doc, that if I click the notify people and send, Abdallah will get something in his email. If I don't check that and I click share, it'll still show up in his Google Drive under shared with me. We already saw where the running code is shown. That's under. This is a difference between Google Colab and a Google Doc or anything else in Google Drive. It doesn't automatically save, and that just has to do with how complex these documents can get. So there is a file menu with a save. You can also do Control S, and that will save it. And it shows at the top middle when it's saved. It does do auto saving sometimes, but it's really, really infrequent. Unlike a Google Doc, where as soon as you add a character, you type something, make an edit, it will automatically update the save. Where does the notebook file live? So there's two ways to get back to a notebook file. The first way is if we return to Google Colab. My first project will be here because it was recent that we were editing that. Another way that you can do it, though, is going to Google Drive. And in Google Drive, you'll have an automatically created folder called Colab Notebooks. And then in this Colab Notebooks will be all of your projects that we create on this website. Now, Google Drive isn't good at opening the file itself, but if we say open with Google Colaboratory, then it'll get us to our project in a different tab. And so that's how we open it in Google Drive. And I think that gets us to the end of the demo.